So she was snubbed by Hollywood. What's hilarious is that Meghan really did think, I'm told, that when she paid $12,000 for the right to go to Kevin Costner, that would give her speaking rights too. After all, she'd just come from Germany, where she had been lauded at the Invictus Games. But that wasn't Hollywood. She wanted to do the same in Hollywood. And she was convinced she was going to get the right to make the same sort of speech, you know, the great speech about being a great lover and deeply affected by all the poverty and all the rest of it.
I'm happy now that they can go back to Montecito. He was a bitter, bitter man at the coronation. You could tell he was wearing it all over his face. And now he can just go home and sit in the misery that he created for himself. He's an unhappy man. He married an unhappy woman. They're going to sit in Montecito. It doesn't matter how big their mansion gets. They're never going to be happy. She can nail every Spotify deal, WME representation she wants. It's never going to fulfill the hole that's inside of her because there's something wrong with this woman.
You can't choose your family. You can love them, but you can love them from a distance too. And there are a lot of my family members that I've had to learn to love from a distance. They call me, I'm like, yeah, I'm here, you need something, let me know, but I can't have you in my life because you're toxic.
What if I told you that Hollywood just turned its back on the one woman it once swore to protect? That the same industry that lifted her to global stardom is now watching her fall and saying nothing?
So she was snubbed by Hollywood, and that really is pretty sad to think you can buy a microphone for $12,000 when really if she paid $100,000 she would have had the right to speak, but she was too cheapskate to pay the full rate.
This isn't gossip. This isn't a rumor. This is Meghan Markle's empire cracking in real time. And the first crack, it didn't come from the tabloids. It came from Tyler Perry. Yes, the man who once gave Meghan and Harry a mansion, a jet, and a security team just dropped a bombshell in front of a live BET Awards audience. 7 words, no names, but the message crystal clear. You can't build a palace on unpaid bills. The air froze, the crowd gasped, and in that instant, a decade of quiet support collapsed into a single, devastating moment of public truth.
And you gotta be careful because when you put too many people on the boat, there's some trying to put holes in it because they want it to sink because they don't like that you're sailing. Sometimes in your life, you're spinning up to the next level and people start to fall off and it hurts, it's lonely, especially when it's somebody that you really, really loved and had a great time with and wish that they could be there with you. But you have to understand and realize that that toxicity is poison to your wings. It will cause you to crash. So you have to be able to say, I love you, but I'm sorry, this does not work for me anymore.
But that was only the beginning, because behind the glitz, behind the titles, behind the polished press releases, lies a story of broken trust, silent exits, and money trails that no one was supposed to see. Oprah, gone, Hollywood, closing its doors, and Meghan, caught in the fallout of a brand that's unraveling at the seams. This isn't just a celebrity drama, this is a reckoning. So buckle up, because what you're about to see isn't just another fall from grace. It's the final act of a royal fairy tale gone completely off script. Let's rewind. Tyler Perry once saved Meghan and Harry. Private jet, luxury mansion, security detail. The man literally rescued them when they fled the royal family. He didn't just offer kindness, he bet his name. But now, Tyler's drawing a line in public. And that wasn't just shade, that was the end of a friendship. Insiders say Perry's team had been warning him for years. This isn't philanthropy, it's unpaid charity with a PR twist. And after enough dodged bills and broken promises, he's done being the quiet ally. Guess who else disappeared? Oprah. The Oprah, the queen of media who gave Meghan her most iconic interview. Now, radio silence. Not a single mention. Her team hasn't uttered Meghan's name in months. No calls, no texts, no quotes. Just a cold, calculated ghosting. Even Gayle King, once her most vocal cheerleader, is eerily quiet. And in Hollywood, silence is a statement. Remember when Meghan was the media's golden girl? Now, even People magazine reportedly passed on a feature because she's too polarizing. Let that sink in. Top PR firms? Backing away. Agencies like WME and UTA no longer interested. They're calling it the Markle risk factor. She's become the investment no one wants to admit they made.
This week, Meghan and Harry have been accused of cosplaying working royals. Is that a bit unfair?
I think think it's not unfair. I think it's actually quite accurate. I think one of the things that I've noticed is the Sussexes really overestimated the power of their brand. I don't think they were in the royal family long enough to make the kind of exits that they wanted, which is basically them being an offshoot of the royal family but doing their own form of service. I don't think they've made much of a success of it because they really overestimated the power of their own brand as a couple. They were only in the royal family for a couple of years. They didn't engage in that many public engagements. They didn't really have an opportunity to be embedded in the public psyche. So I don't think that they really understood the kind of mammoth task that they had to really try and up their PR game and really ingratiate themselves in the public as a credible team of do-gooders and charity workers or whatever they wanted to do.
Let's talk dollars. Netflix handed her a $100 million deal. And what did we get? A canceled cartoon, a docuseries no one remembers, and a podcast that trended less than your grandma's knitting blog. Even her latest attempt, Confessions of a Female Founder, flatlined before it even launched. Early reviews called it self-important and confusing. Translation: no spark, no substance, no staying power. If you really want to understand how an empire collapses, don't follow the headlines, follow the money. Because behind every photo op, every polished Instagram post, and every interview filled with curated vulnerability, there's a trail of dollars, and that trail is starting to reek. Let's talk about Archwell, Meghan, and Harry's nonprofit crown jewel. On paper, it was supposed to be a philanthropic powerhouse, a vehicle for change, a legacy project. But in reality, it's looking more like a piggy bank wrapped in nonprofit paperwork.
Yeah, I always try and think the best of people. I really do. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but this perhaps is one coincidence too far. This video Harry and Meghan put out coming just a few hours after that lovely, very charming video of George and Louis and Charlotte at a baby bank doing their little bit. It does seem extraordinary. I suppose you could argue perhaps that Harry and Meghan put out their flashy little video because these bad figures were coming out to do with Archwell. That is conceivable. Yeah. But it is one more attempt, it looks like, one more attempt to upstage the Waleses, and it doesn't look good. Yeah. It looks snide and unpleasant.
And it really doesn't look good, does it, when you get Omid Scobie, whether they will make out that he was not given their blessing or otherwise, for him to be embroiled in what can only be his own scandal of his own making, first denying that he'd put any...
Recent reports show millions spent in administrative fees. But where's the output? Where are the programs? Where's the impact? In 2024, Archwell reported over $2.9 million in operational costs, but virtually zero in measurable content or charitable deliverables. And now, the IRS is being tipped off. Nonprofit watchdogs are circling. And the phrase self-dealing is starting to pop up in legal circles. That's not just a red flag, that's a subpoena waiting to happen. Sources say consultants with vague job titles were paid exorbitant fees. Personal stylists listed as brand advisors. Private jet costs buried under media travel. And Meghan's own glam squad, allegedly included in the foundation's expense breakdowns. Let's be clear, this isn't just bad optics. It's potentially criminal, especially in California, where charity compliance laws are no joke. Even the banks are raising eyebrows. Wells Fargo, First Republic, both have reportedly flagged irregular financial activity linked to her business and foundation accounts. We're talking about delayed reimbursements, consultants paid before staff, large wire transfers with no clear documentation. One former vendor even told the Daily Wire they had to threaten legal action just to get paid after 6 months of silence. Another claimed payments mysteriously stalled every time Meghan faced bad press, like the finance department was reacting emotionally. If that sounds chaotic, it's because it is. And when you couple that with failed media deals, like the $20 million Spotify contract that went up in smoke after 12 episodes, you start to see the bigger picture. It's not just bad PR, it's a financial structure collapsing under the weight of overpromise and underdelivery. Insiders say even her internal team has raised concerns, but their warnings were ignored. Because in Meghan's world, every setback gets spun. But in the real world, numbers don't lie. And right now, the numbers are screaming that this isn't a media mogul in the making, It's a brand in default. There was a time when just whispering Meghan Markle's name guaranteed headlines, cover stories, and viral moments. She was untouchable, the royal rebel, the media darling, the face of a modern fairy tale.
But I will say, I'm sure you've probably noticed that a certain show, Suits, has become a phenomenon yet again on Netflix. 45 billion minutes have been watched. Is that right? 45 billion as of this week. We just found out 24 minutes ago that is the number. Who's counting? But literally, who's counting? What do you think is behind this renewed love for the show? Why has it become such a phenomenon again?
I have no idea. It was great to work on. Such a great cast and crew. We had a really fun time. I was on it for 7 seasons, so quite a bit. But it's hard to find a show you can binge watch that many episodes of these days. So that could have something to do with it. But good shows are everlasting.
But today, that brand power has evaporated like a trending hashtag from last week. Let's start with the red carpets, where once she arrived to flashing cameras and global press coverage, she now doesn't even make the guest list. The Vanity Fair Oscar party? Not invited. Industry insiders say her name is more trouble than it's worth. Too many conditions, too many demands, not enough payoff. Her team reportedly fractured, high turnover, leaked memos, morale in the basement. Even her PR firm, once tasked with building a global image, is now locked in survival mode, focused strictly on damage control, not growth. And that damage runs deep. Hollywood moves fast, but it never forgets. When you're hot, everyone wants a piece. But when things get messy, even your allies start hitting mute. Major platforms that once scrambled to partner with Meghan now won't even return calls. Netflix slashed budgets. Studios have blacklisted her from potential collaboration lists. Publishing houses that once fought for her now consider her a PR risk with diminishing returns. One exec even said, "We bought into a movement. We got a meltdown." That's brutal, but it's real, because Hollywood isn't about sympathy. It's about ROI, return on investment. And Meghan, she's no longer seen as a bankable brand. She's seen as a bad bet. Worse still, she's not reinventing, she's retreating. Her podcast flopped. Her shows were canceled before they aired. And even the simplest projects, teasers, blogs, interviews, are now met with a shrug instead of a splash. No buzz, no energy, no movement. Just the slow, silent unraveling of a brand that was once too big to fail. And here's the kicker. In a city built on illusion, the one thing you can't fake for long is relevance. And for Meghan Markle, that relevance is falling fast. Once upon a time, Meghan Markle was the woman who dared to walk away from a crown. She had the world at her feet, global sympathy, royal titles, and the unwavering support of the most powerful media figures alive. She was more than a duchess, she was a movement, a symbol of defiance, a new chapter for modern royalty. But somewhere along the way, the story changed. Not because she left the palace, but because she never found solid ground outside it. The bridges she burned to escape became the lifelines she later needed. And Hollywood? Hollywood doesn't forgive easily.
It was really hard. Look, I was really ashamed to say it at the time, and ashamed to have to admit it to Harry, especially, because I know how much loss he's suffered. But I knew that if I didn't say it, that I would do it, and I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
The way that I saw it was, there was a way of doing things.
Tyler Perry, the man who once airlifted her to safety, is now the one delivering the quietest but most deafening blow. Oprah, the voice who amplified hers, is now nowhere to be found. And the industry that once rolled out the red carpet is now rolling it back up. This isn't a scandal. It's not even a backlash. It's erasure. PR firms won't touch her. Studios won't take meetings. Vendors won't wait for late checks. And fans, even they're starting to switch channels. The sad truth is, Meghan Markle didn't lose her platform. She used it up, overpromising, underdelivering, and slowly, steadily, losing the very currency Hollywood runs on, credibility. Because in this town, where everyone is selling a dream, trust is the product. And once it's gone, there's no refund, no reboot, no rerun. So now, the woman who left the royal family to write her own fairy tale may go down not as a queen in exile, but as a cautionary tale of what happens when the crown you chase isn't made of gold, but glass. What do you think? Is Meghan misunderstood, or has Hollywood finally caught on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you want more behind the curtain takes. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got way more truth bombs coming your way. Because in a world of fame and fiction, we follow the real story. Stay tuned, stay sharp.